I tried to put myself into the locker so I didn't have to look at anybody. He invented baseball.
You had the whole Leicester team do a knee slide in front of me as I'm walking up.
I used to take my dogs for an imaginary walk in my room. We've got them by the ding dang doos.
Shoes made of wood.
There's a common theme in it. You're always in a pub.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Under the Lid with me, Jack Brooks, and my co-host, nowhere to be seen. It's my turn to present on my own as we bring you the second of our 2005 Ashes episodes, brought to you, as always, by The Cricketer and the PCA. Now, it was great to hear all about the historic women's series with Isha, Lydia and Brunty this week and hear all their stories. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined now by one of the men's stars of that summer and someone who was a bit of a hero to me during that summer, as many people of my age and slightly younger were tuned in that summer to cricket. He took 16 wickets in the series, was a key figure with the new ball for England, swung the ball around corners, had a big mop of blonde hair, and he also ensured England won the fourth test with a crucial 8 not out. Welcome to the show, the great Matthew Hoggard.
Good evening, Jack.
Hello, Matthew. How are you, old bean?
Thank you for putting in and people younger than me, because when you said I just feel really, really old.
Do you know what, mate? When I was thinking about it earlier, thinking like 2005 was a big summer for me personally in terms of it was before I turned pro. I was 21, and I just remember being glued to cricket that summer. I didn't really have a proper job, but I know that so many people 5-10 years younger than me, so 30-year-olds now, they were heavily impacted by that series. And it seems like, how was it that? But it is quite a long time. It's 20 years ago.
It is definitely 20 years ago. 20 years ago, 7 stones. I think 7 stone ago. We managed to win that Ashes, but it still resonates. I can remember I was watching highlights, and Joe Root was up after becoming the second leading run scorer behind Sachin Tendulkar. And he mentioned 2005, and people like Michael Vaughan, and he was watching it, and it inspired him when he was starting out. And I'm just thinking, how old are we? Because but it encapsulated a nation, and that's one thing that is most probably the proudest bit of playing cricket, is you want to leave behind a legacy, and to have people still coming up to us and saying, do you know what, we know exactly where we were on the Edgbaston Test match, the Trent Bridge Test match, the Oval. You're the reason we started playing cricket. Or I can remember I was bottle feeding, or I had to stop the car to watch, and it makes you incredibly proud to make people still talk about it 20 years later.
Well, it was such an epic series. It was on terrestrial TV. It had some of the best cricketers in the world and ever. We were obviously doing all right for the first time in a while. There were obviously many reasons why it did encapsulate. I remember one game, I think it was the Old Trafford game, the drawn one that we got close at the end, when Ponting got 100, was it 50? And 160, decent knock. And I was playing a game of cricket for Oxford's second team then as a 20-year-old, like trying to make it well before the pro ranks. And the game stopped because everyone was like asking what the scores were. And the umpires just said, look, let's just go off and watch the game. It sounds exciting. Let's go off and watch it. And we all just huddled into this little pavilion in one of the college grounds in Oxford against, I don't know who we were playing, Bucks or whoever. And there was like 20-odd young lads crouched around this TV and the umpires, and everyone was just like, the game of cricket had stopped for this. So
it's not an uncommon thing that I've heard other people say that they stopped the cricket to go watch it, and that to me, as you say, it was on terrestrial TV. There wasn't any other big sporting events on. There wasn't any football on. There wasn't athletics on. There wasn't anything that was in competition with us. So it was just sort of like a perfect storm. That the test matches were brilliant. They ebbed and flowed. Everybody could win all the test matches, maybe apart from Lords, where we only got beaten by 165 runs, which was a small margin in those days.
Started well though, didn't it?
We bowled them out for less than 200. We bowled them out twice, so we know that we could get 20 wickets. We just needed our batters to pull the fingers out and score some runs. But that was the introduction of KP as well. He came dancing down the wicket and was smacking Glenn McGrath back straight over his head into the pavilion. He was sweeping and slogging Shane Warne, and he just had a different mentality and a different approach to things, and it really was a bit eye opening. I mean, 50 on his debut, just a different approach to how to play Australia, and it resonated with Michael Vaughan. He says we've got to Edgbaston. He says, you know what, we need to put more pressure on the Australian bowlers, and you could see our batters thinking, okay, Jason Gillespie and Glenn McGrath, Brett Lee and Shane Warne. Which one's the weak link? Which one are we going to put the pressure on? Which one? Which one are we going to have to attack? But that, yeah, it was. I mean, that was when Glenn McGrath stood on the cricket ball at Edgbaston. His ankle and got carried off.
Sliding doors moment, wasn't it?
Mitch came in, and our batters went, him. We'll have a go at him.
And he wasn't a slouch, but just the way that England attacked, wasn't it? 400 in a day one, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, 400. Yeah, and we lost 10 overs or so for bad light and rain, so it wasn't even in 90 overs. So in fairness, we invented Bazball.
Yeah, it was hog ball back then, or Vaughan ball, or Fletch ball. What was it? Fred ball.
Yeah, Fletchers.
What's the question? I can't remember how old you were in that series. You were probably in your pomp though, weren't you? Around about that time.
You're asking 20 years ago. I was 28.
So you're just coming into your pomp probably as a fast bowler.
Yeah.
How was the rest of your career after that? Did it feel like, what now? Like, where do I go from here? Or was it just kind of, you didn't really realise at the time, you thought, well, that's great, what else can we do now?
So, I mean, going back to 2000, I was lucky enough to be in a changing room when central contracts started coming into play. And we sat down with a psychologist and we were talking about, right, we want to be number one in the world, and how long do we need to give ourselves to be number one in the world, and how do we get there? And we started talking about beating people home and away, and world's best practice, and how we get better at the world's best practice to make sure that at the moment, because we were rated below Zimbabwe at the time, we were shocking. We were shocking. So we had massive discussions to see how we got up to the top, and winning at home was the easy bit. It was winning away was the hard bit, and making sure that we could beat teams off English soil. And with that, I think we went to Pakistan that winter and got a rude awakening, and then we went to Australia and we got whitewashed. So that again was it was a short lived wow, we're top of the world. And then we got beat in Pakistan, and then Australia with a wounded animal. And they beat us 5-0 in Australia. And I can remember we were at Adelaide, and we lost a test match that we couldn't lose. I think, what was it, Collie that scored 200? And we got Shane Warne in the second inning. And it was just that we can't lose this. And I can remember vividly, at the end of the test match, I was so annoyed. I was sat in a. I tried to put myself into the locker so I didn't have to look at anybody. I was so seething, and I couldn't believe that everybody were making plans to go out and see Robbie Williams that night. And I just, yeah, it wasn't. It just sort of like didn't ring true to me. But when you say you were in your pomp in 2005, we were on top of the world. It was then, I was always a massive believer that I was never on the team sheet. I was always, I'm only as good as my next performance, and I had to perform every game to get into the team. So it wasn't a case of I tried to you rest on your laurels or anything else. It was right, how do I maintain myself in that team? How do I still get picked? So it wasn't a, right, we're there, what do we do now? It was all right, we're there now. We're going to be targets by everybody in the world. Winning's the easy bits. Keep winning is the harder bit.
Trying to keep that team together would have been tough as well, with injuries and
yeah, we lost Varney, captain. We didn't have Strauss either.
And Simon didn't play again, did he?
No, yeah. After the run out, he was at Edgbaston. No, Trent Bridge. He was trying to put a pad round an air sock to see if he could go out and bat. And Gary Pratt run Ricky Ponting out, and so funny that Ricky Ponting went up and shouted at Fletch, and he's saying, "Right, we're cheating because Simon Jones isn't on the field," and Gary Pratt was on for Simon Jones, and Simon Jones was in an ambulance going off to get a scan, so he was a little bit not that Simon Jones wasn't on the field, but he had a genuine injury that ended his career.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. It's funny, like, we've been speaking to probably about 5-6 minutes here. And one of the first questions I was going to ask was, what was your first clearest memory from that '05 summer? And you must have mentioned about 12 things then that I can remember vividly. It's like there almost isn't one thing you probably think of. You might think of something different every time you think of that series because there were so many iconic moments.
So many. I think the first, if you go in chronological order, the first one was the reception we got walking through the Lord's long room, because normally it was just a polite ripple of applause, but there was a roar that went round when we went into
That must have been so cool.
It's sort of cool, but then you're out in the middle, and it's electrifying. It's 2000. It's the Ashes, and Lords is a buzz. Did you get nervous when you bowled?
I always used to get really nervous before the first game of the year. And because I never bowled the first over, really, because most of my bowling partners throughout most of my career were the senior bowler. And by the end of it, I didn't have that same feeling about bowling and the nerves I used to have. But the first game of the year, I was always really nervous, like, Jesus, how's this going to go? And I loved the feeling of the fuzziness in the stomach because it made you feel alive and it made you feel like focused. But literally after your first ball, it was like, yeah, done this a few times.
So there's times where I got nervous was during the toss. I didn't like watching the toss because you always wanted the captain to win the toss and bat first, so you didn't want to bowl unless you're Stokesy, who likes to bowl every time he wins a toss. So at the toss, but then you're opening bowler, so you're setting the tone for the game, especially if you lose the toss and have to bowl first. And Langer and Hayden. It, I had nightmare against Hayden when NASA lost. Well, no, sorry, he won the toss. NASA won the toss and hadn't ran for 3 years, and he decided that he's going to bowl first. And his reasoning was he had a young, inexperienced attack, and if there's going to be any movement in the pitch, it was going to be the first hour, and he wanted to exploit it.
Did you find any? You're still looking for it?
I was still looking for the ball that Matthew Hayden kept on smashing about. He'd just come off the back of scoring 375 against Zimbabwe. It wasn't in a bad vein of form. Justin Langer wasn't in a bad. And at the time, I hated bowling against left-handers. And I can remember my bowling plan is, and you have a bowling plan, and you say, right, bowl your best ball. So I bowled what I thought was my best ball. And Hayden just stood on the front foot and smashed me through covers. And I went, in my head, it was right. You've got to make him do it again because that was your best ball. So I did it, and I bowled that ball again, and he smashed me through the covers again. And I just went, what do I do here? Because I was I was inexperienced. I didn't have a plan B, and I was just like, what's going on now? So that was a very rude awakening to Ashes cricket, bowling against Hayden and Langer.
You had him on toast in the Ashes '05, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a bit more revenge.
You got all the top order wicket, but you certainly got a lot of the opening 2 or 3 wickets, didn't you? Your stats. I mean, you didn't get loads of the tail out, but when you've got Simon Jones, Harmison, and Flintoff to do that, that's not your job, is it?
I didn't. No, we've got fast bowlers to do that, and it was as I say, a rude awakening. And I remember Craig White coming onto bowl, and he bowled rockets. He bowled 90 miles an hour, and he used to come on, and Hayden was just so warmed up by my bowling. He used to dance down the track and smack him straight back over his head for 6. And I'm thinking that's 90 mile an hour, and you're tracking him and smacking him over his head, and then bowled a bouncer, and he was just having a cup of tea before he pulled it. And I was just thinking, this boy's quite good. I didn't know what to do. So that was a rude awakening to Ashes cricket, but it was a brilliant insight to how the best operated, because you were on the field arguably against the best team that was in early 2000s. You look at the West Indies of late 80s, and then you look at the Australians of the late 90s, early 2000s. They were pretty special. So being on the pitch and being around the team, watching how they operated and seeing how good and how big the gap was then, was quite special. I can remember I didn't play every Test match, but I did play the New Year's Day Test match, and we beat them in Sydney. And all the Barmy Army started singing "We're Unbeaten" in 2003, I think it was, or 2002. We won't talk about the Boxing Day Test match or the three before that.
They find the humour in everything, weren't they?
Yeah.
So you played in 3 Ashes series, did you?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. So 3.
I think I've worked it out. I played in 12 Test matches, won 3, lost the rest.
But out of those 3, you won 2, which won a series. So you've won the Ashes once, and it was the most iconic one ever, and you're remembered for that.
Yeah.
So 3 Ashes series, 12. You played 12 of them. You had obviously a very long, very successful career. Why is Ashes cricket so different from any other series or tournament? Like, what's so special about it? You've got enough experience.
Yeah, again, so you look at the India series that's just gone. That was a brilliant series, ebbs and flowed and everything else. But why isn't it an Ashes? Why did it did a lot of people talking about it, but it wasn't the Ashes. And I don't know why it's that special. It's the history. It's the Australia. It's just it's like a local rivalry. It's like the local derby, but from the other side of the world. And it is a huge series when I mean, everybody talks about it. Even when you've got 3 or 4 series between you and the next Ashes, everybody wants to know about the next Ashes. Well, actually, we've got a game to play. We've got more games to play. We've got more series to play. But everybody wants Australia versus the Ashes. Every foreign team watches Australia and England in the Ashes. So it's not just a thing between Australia and England. Everybody has got this thing. It started back on the. You listen to or you speak to people that didn't have TV on, it wasn't broadcast around the world. Everybody was on Test Match Special, listening to it on the radio, saying what's happening and keeping an eye on the Ashes cricket via the radio. And then more TV and broadcast rights come around, and instead of having to close your eyes and envision what's happening, you can actually watch it. So it's just I think the history and how iconic every series is against Australia that encapsulates everybody.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's I mean, especially as a fan, like, it was obviously my aim to play international cricket, and I never did, never good enough. But to watch it is it's gripping, isn't it? Because a cricket fan, it's gripping. So to be part of it must have been unbelievable. Home and away, even the away series when it doesn't go as well. Australia love their cricket over there as well, don't they? Did you have any particular personal expectations going into that series, or was it just a case of I just want to keep my place? Like, did you have an inkling about what the team was capable of, or was it a case of it built momentum? And obviously, you'd done so well against the West Indies the year before and been on a bit of a roll for 18 months or whatever it was.
So it started back in 2004. As we said, we beat the West Indies for the first time in 19 years in the West Indies. We Granted, it was a lesser side that from recent from what the other England teams had to play, but we still had to beat what's put in
Still
front
beat
of us.
them up though, didn't you?
Until Lara went and scored 400. And that series, I got flat wicket itis on the last Test matches when he scored 400. So Ashley Giles had a sickness and didn't play. And I said on the morning, I don't feel well. And they said, right, you're playing. So I played and I was throwing up at lunchtime. I tried to bowl after lunch. I was throwing up on the boundary. So I had to go off the pitch. And Gareth Batty, who came in for us, he's still not speaking to me because he had to bowl my overs as well.
He had to bowl about 60 overs, didn't he?
And one thing that Brian Lara likes is a finger spinner, and took him for a few 400. But he started in the West Indies. Steve Armstrong got 7 for 12. I got a hat trick. People scoring runs. Freddie was in good form. Jonesy was in good form. Gilo was picking up wickets. And the beautiful thing of that side is that we had batters that could score runs, but then we had 5 bowlers that were different. All 5 bowlers challenged the batsmen in different techniques. It wasn't like we were changing the bowling, but it was just the same bowling, just a different player that was bowling. I opened the bowling with Harmy. Harmy's 6'6", and he's tall and bouncy and fast. I'm a little swinger. Then we had Freddie bowling them horrible things that nobody likes. And Simon Jones at 90 mile an hour reverse swinging with Ashley Giles. And we had all bases covered. And the other beautiful thing about it is that nobody cared who was getting wickets. Because it was a settled side. All we wanted to do was take 10 wickets and get off the pitch as quick as possible. And whoever was bowling well at the time, it was down to the other players at the other end to just hold up the hand up and say, right, do you know what, we'll try and put the pressure on the other end while you're taking the wickets. And there wasn't an angry or a jealous bone about it. Everybody genuinely wanted other people to do well. And we all knew our roles perfectly because we'd sat down and we discussed and worked out the roles. And that started in South because I didn't know I was going to the West Indies until after Christmas, because in Sri Lanka I got dropped for the last Test match against obviously against Sri Lanka, and James Kirtley played, and he didn't do anything wrong. And James Kirtley bowled very similar to what I bowled. You weren't changing the bowler, you were changing the player, but you weren't changing the bowler really, because it was still right arm swinger. So he didn't do anything wrong in Sri Lanka, and I'm thinking, well, I've lost my place to James. I don't know if I'm going to go to the West Indies. And I was lucky enough to get into the squad, and James Kirtley didn't, and I didn't understand why. I didn't really ask. Really, I was just pleased that I was selected, and I bowled well in the West Indies. Then we went to South Africa. I managed to get the Player of the Series and bowled well in South Africa, and we beat South Africa 2-1 in South Africa, the first team to do so since apartheid. So we were in good form going away from home to South Africa as well. Then we had one. Was it New Zealand that came over before Australia? Was it the Windies that came back? I can't remember.
You had 2 tests against someone, didn't you? I can't remember who it was.
Not the guy. And then we played Australia, and we were used to winning, and we knew how to win. And we thought we were in with a brilliant chance of beating them, but we knew that we'd have to play well. And when we bowled them out for less than 20 in the first innings at Lords, we thought, well, do you know what? Here we go again. And then we didn't back it up too well. And as I say, we went to Edgbaston. And Vaughan just said, right, same team, but we just need to put pressure back on the bowlers. And we went out and scored 400 runs. We bowled. That was when Ricky Ponting made the biggest mistake in that series by winning the toss.
Necessary.
Yeah, and he bowled first. And Shane Warne told him exactly what he thought of the decision of bowling first. He's got the best spinner in the world, and he's just taken him out of the game for day one. They've got Kasperovich coming in, who was taken to the sword by Trez, and we put the pressure back onto Australia. And I can remember going in the last day, we only need, I think, was it only 2 wickets we needed? 60 runs. We thought, you know what, nice and easy. Here we go. And Brett Lee and Shane Warne batted really well, and then Brett Lee took over from Shane Warne.
Stood on his stumps, didn't he?
Simon Jones dropped a catch at third man, a really difficult catch, and I thought, you know what, he's just dropped the Ashes, because if we'd have lost that game, we wouldn't have got back into that series.
2-0 down, isn't it? You'd ask. Yeah.
2-0 down against Australia, best team in the world. You're not getting back into it. And I thought, Jonah, one of my best mates, I just felt so sorry for him. And then Kaspovic gloved it down the leg side, and it erupted. It's a big celebration. And iconic photos. You go into any cricket pavilion or any gym, there's Brett Lee down on his haunches and Freddie's shaking his hand. Such an iconic photo. But to go 1-1 really it, it's give us a little bit of belief that we could win the series. And you'd already mentioned Manchester, where we got really close. Going in on the final day, Manchester having needing to take the wickets to go 2-0, we couldn't get to the ground because the amount of people that were outside was unbelievable. And we were going, why don't they just open the gates and let people in to clear the blockages outside? Because we were getting late, and we got up into the changing rooms and we realised that they'd already opened the gates, and Old Trafford was full to capacity at 9 o'clock in the morning. There was 10,000 people without tickets trying to get in.
That's crazy, isn't it?
You create a cricket ground, 10,000 people without a ticket trying to get into Old Trafford. That was how much it sort of like could encapsulate. And there were 3 tests in, and Ricky Ponting played that amazing innings. And when he gloved it down the leg side to Harmy again, out on Glenn McGrath, and they managed to, I think, 20 balls left. They managed to survive the 20 balls to survive that game and to draw it. And Michael Vaughan pulled us all into the centre at the square. And before the series started, Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne was talking about it's going to be 5-0 again. Same old Poms. They always talk a good game, but they never deliver. So they were talking about beating us 5-0. We'd beaten them at Edgbaston, but we only drew the game at Old Trafford, and you could feel that everybody thought that was our chance. Our heads were down, our shoulders slumped, and Vaughan pulled us all into the middle of the square, and he pointed to the Australian dressing room and said, "Have you seen how they're celebrating a draw against us?" And they were high-fiving, hugging and kissing like they'd won the series. Not just the game, the series. They'd just taken the draw. And he said, "We've got them by the ding-dang-doos. We're going to go on and win this series." And that was the moment where that mighty Australian team just went. They're just 11 players with the same frailties, the same insecurities that we have. They're not unbeatable. They're not that machine. They're 11 blokes. We can beat these. And that, to me, was a huge psychological turning point in the series. Well, not because we'd won at Edgbaston, but because Australia was celebrating a draw against us. And that, to me, was weird because Australia normally roll over us. So we went to then Trent Bridge with a renewed confidence, thinking that we could beat them. We made them follow on for the first time in a long time. Simon Jones tried to bowl and did his ankle, but Gilo bowled that ball. Damien Mike ragged out of the rough, took his off stump. What a fantastic ball. We managed to pick up a few wickets. Straussy one-handed diving catch. Ricky Ponting run out. There was so much drama in that thing. And we only needed, 129 to win in the last innings. And it's only 12.9 a partnership, isn't it? And it was only... we needed 12 when I went out to bat. So, yeah.
I remember watching that in the tavern at Lord's, because I'd been at Lord's that day watching a club game, and I remember watching you.
There's a common theme in it. You're always in a pub watching it.
Well, 20, mate. I was 20.
So yeah, there's a thing on Instagram because it was 20 years to the day that we beat them at Trent Bridge, and Richard Bennett was commentating on my batting, and I can't remember the exact words, but it was really sensible with mature head and some great skill. I was thinking, he's talking about me, my batting. Stick my chest out.
Sensible.
I know, that's what I couldn't believe. And I've got a son, Ernie, who's now 18, and he just rips me apart because I was a bowler, and everybody always remembers me for one shot.
Decent cover drive, mate. Decent cover drive.
It was a full toss. It says, "What's it like being a bowler and nobody remembers you for being a bowler? All they remember you for is hitting 1-4." Fair point.
Best shot you ever played, mate, though, wasn't it?
It was. So I hit 2 cover drives. I hit 1 for 2. Well, it was half volley that I pushed through the covers for 2. Sweeper. If that hadn't been a sweeper, the cover sweeper out for me. They saw me striding in. No, they didn't. They saw me plodding in. And I put a sweeper out. Blinked it for 2. Blinked an inside edge for 2. And I can remember there was a massive LBW appeal. Brett Lee reverse swing hit me on the foot. It was going down. It wasn't out, but I can remember Ricky Ponting saying, I said, "I hit it." And he went, "You didn't hit it." I went, "Well, if I didn't, it'd have hurt a lot more than what it did because it didn't hurt." And then I watched the replay. I was miles off it. I was a yard off it, and it hit the bottom of my shoe. So it hit the sole of my shoe. It hadn't hit my flesh. It just hit the shoe. I was like,
Shoes made of wood.
he's right. I didn't hit it.
I'm going to put you on the spot with these 5 tests. So rather than go into depth answers, let's get a quick couple of words or very quick memory from each test match. So if I said to you, Lords, what do you immediately think of? And it doesn't have to be on field. It doesn't have to be something that happened during a game. What is one thing that you immediately think of Lords?
The roar in the long room.
Roar in the long room. That's pretty cool. And Edgbaston?
That picture with Freddie, with Brett Lee at the end of it. I'm going to say, I do tell that when he walks past, he said, "That's one all you Aussie plonker." He wasn't congratulating him or consoling him.
It wasn't all nice then.
It wasn't all nice.
When the real story comes out 20 years later. Old Trafford, the draw at Old Trafford.
Yeah, again, the huddle.
Vaughan telling you.
Yeah, and the 10,000 people outside, that to me just encapsulated that. Yeah.
That's crazy. Trent Bridge?
Cover drive.
Yeah, talk about yourself. Get yourself in there somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah, Gary Pratt run out.
And the Gary Pratt run out, yeah. But you'll cover drive.
When you watch that back, the Gary Pratt run out, he picks it up, shies it at the stumps, and it ricochets off. There's some silly blonde lad with a flower pot hat on with long straggly hair sprinting after that ball because he's going towards the boundary, and I'm sprinting after it as fast as I can to stop it going for 4.
Excellent. You didn't even part of the celebrations. Fantastic, mate. And Oval, the draw at the Oval that won the series.
KP, that innings that he got caught at, was it Gully first ball, or he went in on a hat trick?
He got dropped, slipped, didn't he?
He got his, but he went in first ball. Glenn McGrath on a hat trick bounced him, hit his shoulder, and got caught Gully. I thought it was glove, but wasn't given out. And just then the freewheeling bat of KP came out, and he scored 100 with lots of oohs, ahs, near misses, ooh, it's dropped, ooh, it's gone through its hands. Though that's massive. How's he hit that there? And it was box office, but it was also so scary and so nervous. Me and Ashley Giles were playing Snap in the coach's room because we couldn't watch it. Well, we kept an eye on it, but we were trying to calm ourselves down because we were next put to it.
Well, Gilo batted for about 3 hours, 4 hours, didn't he? How long did he bat for?
Brett Lee bowling rapid. Gilo scoring 50. I went out and Brett Lee was... I actually asked him, "Have I done something to annoy you?" And he just went, "No, I'm just really annoyed, peed off about how the series is going." But yeah, KP at the Oval.
KP's hooking for sixes continuously further and further into the stands. Like seeing a fast bowler like Brett Lee, who was...
Yeah, and Sean Tate.
And Tate, who wasn't slow. 2 lads bowling absolute wheels and a guy taking them on is some of the best thing you can see in Test cricket, isn't it?
Yeah, and you speak to Gilo, who scored a valuable 50 that innings. He was at the other end watching that, and he said he told the story about a bit having the box office suit, and I went out and just ducking and weaving and trying not to get hit. thinking, how on earth do you have the time, the ability, and the skill to do that? And it's just, I just can't fathom it. Even playing international cricket, the batters that seem to have all that time in the world to pull fast bowling, I just, I just, I'm in awe. And that's why it's an impossible when you do the science. It's an impossible sport because you haven't got the reaction time. You can't think about it. It takes what 0.3 of a second for the ball to hit you and 0.4 of a second for you to make a decision. And you're thinking, well, how on earth have they made a decision, got into the right position, and hit it? I just not not doing this. Doesn't
So, what was going through your head, and sort of give me your analysis of that match-winning partnership with Gilo when you're facing Shane Warne and Brett Lee running in trying to take your head off?
Yeah, well, I was next in because Gavin Jones went. So I was.
Gave it away, Jonesy, didn't he? Let you have a go at it.
Yeah, he likes letting me have a go. But KP was, as I say, a breath of fresh air. And he came into to water to Varney at tea time or lunchtime. Just said, "I've got no idea what to do," and Varney just said, "Well, just go out and smack it," because he said it didn't. He couldn't get into the game. He felt like he was going to get out every ball, so he just went, well, I'd rather take you down as well as I can before I get out. But it puts bums on seats. It's what it's what Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes are doing now. He was in front of his time in that sort of regards. But being from an old school camp, being from an old school player, thinking old school, you're thinking, why on earth are you doing that? And at times, you were having kittens about why on earth are you playing them sort of shots in this situation. The old schools.
Traditional approach and a modern approach.
Then there's the newer approach, and I think KP had that new approach. Well, he definitely had that new approach. And the old school, didn't think like that and didn't have the coach like that. It was just wow, this is so maverick, so different. So is that right? Should he be doing that? So yeah, that's the start of the story of KP. But I don't think we've got long enough.
No, this is about you, mate. This is about you. Like, I'm a bowler as well, mate. As much as I like KP and Trez and Varney, like it's about the bowlers. Like, that seam attack and Gilo, like you said, it had all bases covered. It sounded like you're all great mates. I take it you're all good pals to this day.
Yeah. And then when you think back and you say you're a bowler, the greatest bowler, you look on YouTube, the greatest bowler ever, Andrew Flintoff, Edgbaston, gets 2 wickets in the over, bowls a no ball, gets away Ricky Ponting with his last. That over was something special. Freddie, that series was on a different level to what I've seen him before. He hadn't played an Ashes series before. He'd missed all the Ashes series. He had something to prove. And he went out and he proved it. I mean, he was the talisman for us in 2005. And a bit like Boltham's Ashes, Freddie was the standout. Wow. He always seemed to do something. So yeah, he was an amazing player.
Well, yeah, it was. It must have been great to play with and be pals with someone like that in that change room. He would have been. I mean, it was obviously for a young lad. It was inspirational. He must have inspired his teammates with what he was capable of doing and carrying himself.
Yeah, and from a professional's point of view, he was a character. He wasn't a dedicated trainer. He wasn't the first in the nets. He wasn't the last out in nets. He was the sort of bloke that really, really annoyed me. So, do you know if you bowled a full day and the next morning, how long did it take you to get loose?
Yeah, well, a lot longer than it did at the end of my career than it did at the beginning.
And your first over, you bowled. It was nice and gently. I used to call it, what did we use? A progressive dynamic warm up. They used to start bowling slow, and you just got gradually quicker until you actually got enough diesel and engine all around the body before he can start bowling properly. Freddie used to go back, rock up, pick up any old ball, run in like a madman, bowl 2 balls at 90 mile an hour, and bugger off. I was thinking, how do you do that? I'm like, and he just rocked up. Yeah, that'll do. Just off a cup of tea. So yeah, quite annoying.
I'm sure we'll come back to a Freddie story in a minute, but go back to, you mentioned Varney a few times, and they haven't really mentioned Duncan Fletcher as well. So in terms of those two as an impact captain and coach, firstly, how do they get the best out of you, and how much did they impact that series themselves as well?
Yeah, so again, the work that Varney and Fletcher started back in the West Indies, but then Fletcher's work started way back with NASA, and Fletcher came in and changed the English culture with the help of NASA, and NASA was a passionate captain. He was a very
Out on the sleeve, wasn't he?
inflamed character. He wasn't very sympathetic, wasn't empathetic. He was right. Then this is what we're doing, and he had to try it because he had a lot of his mates in the team, or his old teammates, and he was trying to get them to do things differently. He was trying to change a culture of a side. It took NASA to be really strong, really strict, really pig-headed to get the ship going in the right direction. But as a captain towards a bowler, didn't understand bowlers, didn't get into my psyche, didn't understand anything. Didn't understand what it took to be bowler. You bowl a bad ball, he kick the dirt, he'd take his cap off and throw it around when you bowled a bad ball. Whereas Michael Vaughan, when I bowled a bad ball, Hoggy, get down off them steps, get down sweeping the floor, because I had a role there. I was sweeping up. I wasn't going to grab the headlights. I wasn't getting up. I didn't want to go up the stairs to the offices. I was on the shop floor sweeping. So if I bowled a bad ball, Hoggy, get off the steps. Come, get back down sweeping. Well, we know what we want.
It's clever.
Or if I was running in and like a headless chicken, because one of my I say faults. One of my themes was if I got hit, I wasn't bowling well. My go-to was running hard, running faster, try harder. So you end up running in like a headless chicken and losing your action. You couldn't get into the proper position to release the ball, and you ended up bowling worse. So if I bowled a bad ball, I wasn't thinking, hey, Hoggy, how are the monkeys? And I'll be going, not so good, Michael. One of them fell off the tree the other day and got eaten by the crocodile. I'd turn around and bowl against Matthew Hayden. And just to get me out of this is a competition that I'm in a battle. I need to. Right, Hoggy, get over here. What are we having for tea, lad? Where are we going out? How do you cook? And it'd take me out of the situation and talk nonsense to me. So when I turned around and bowled, I hadn't mulled everything over my head. I haven't thinking I'm going to run in faster. And Steve Harmison describes him as the best liar that he's ever had. He could make you feel like you were bowling really good when you weren't. And him and Steve Bull, the psychologist, worked out how everybody worked, what motivated people, how to speak to people, how to get the best out of them. And that's what Varney brought to the party. I think NASA and Fletch did a lot of hard work getting the team to where NASA got it to in 2004. But when he retired, instead of having to change anything, he now needed to get the best out of the people that were there, because he'd done a lot of the hard work, and then it was just the icing on the top, which was Michael Vaughan. And the way that Fletch and Vaughan gelled up immediately, they sang off the same hymn sheet. They spoke very well, and tactical wise, they were fantastic. to man management, Varney was the best man managing as a captain, and that's why I say he's the best captain I've played under. Is that he had empathy with the bowlers. He knew when to take them off, when to bowl people, and how to talk to people. So yeah, I always say that Varney was the best captain I played under.
I love the fact we played a Legends game with each other recently, a PCA game, and I got to open the bowling with you, having briefly played against you at the beginning of my career.
You got me out.
And seen, yeah, but
You got me out, and you run past me and did a knee slide.
yeah, but do you remember what happened when I got out? You had the whole Leicester team do a knee slide in front of me as I'm walking off. So
yeah, you had your headband on as well.
I felt like such. I was like, yeah, fair play, lads, well done.
Oh, that was quite amusing.
No, I was a bit of an arse, but it was just young. Was just young, wasn't excitable.
But character. And that's what you want. That's what you want in cricket, in any sport. That little bit of jip and jibe that we got in the India series. Nobody wants to watch Manila Sport.
Well, the
Nobody.
minute the dial got clicked, that got turned up was when all the stuff happened, wasn't it, with Crawley and Duckett and
what more interest? Nobody wants people. You want a little bit of clash. You want people pushing to the edge of the boundaries. You want people passionate because that's why they're there. That's why they're the best 11 people in the country to play sport for that, because they want to be better, they want to push, they want to win. So I love the little fact that they had a little bit of passion and niggle. It was brilliant.
So to wrap up the that summer 05, give us a brief little overview of the celebrations, and if there's any one memory from the celebrations that makes you smirk or makes you think, yeah, that was a good time.
Can you imagine a team doing that now? Being on national TV?
Up.
No, you can't, can you? But 2005 February, they deserve it. What a set of lads are you thinking? How have we got away with that? But yeah, we were very late to bed, or didn't go to bed at all. Got showered, dressed into our number ones because it was a brilliant idea to take us out on a tour around London. They put champagne breakfast on. We went to Mansion House and we met the Lord Mayor. We went to Trafalgar Square and sung Jerusalem with the 10,000 people in Trafalgar Square. Freddie gave the most incoherent interview I've ever heard. We then get taken to 10 Downing Street, and we were in 10 Downing Street. We sat around with all the MPs. One of our party decided to water the rhododendrons. We got put back on the bus. We got taken to Lord's. We did a reception at Lord's, and then from Lord's we were taken back to the hotel. The southern lads stayed at Lord's and gone off to their respected homes at Lord's. The northern lads were staying another night. Freddie fell asleep on the bus on the way to the hotel. Steve Harmison gets his permanent marker and draws all over his face. If you search up Andrew Flintoff drawn on face Ashes 05, you will see what he put on his face. He looks a picture. And we were drinking on it for the next 20 years. I mean, we still, as you say, people are still...
Well deserved, mate, and so you should as well.
But it was, as I say, it was a perfect storm that just encapsulated the nation. 10,000 people outside Old Trafford. When we went round London, we were thinking there were going to be two men and a dog. It was absolutely rammed packed everywhere we went. It was like winning the World Cup. There were 4 or 5 people deep on every single street as far as you could see. The people hanging out of doors, windows, and everything. I can't remember. This is for cricket. This is just I kept on shouting, "Get back to work! Get back to work! You're not doing any work! Get back!" But yeah, it was just such an unbelievable celebration. Freddie was the limelight of it. But yeah, you look at everybody's faces in photos and the eyes and everything. Everybody's cream cracker. They were absolutely, yeah.
Well deserved, mate.
Well deserved, but you won't get away with that now.
No, but it was a different time, and also people would have been Everyone wanted to be you guys. Everyone wanted to be you guys in that moment. I think every sportsman in the country would have gone, I wish I was there right now.
Yeah, it was amazing. I still pinch myself, and then to get the MBE, I wanted an MBE for it as well. So it was a gift that kept on giving.
Just a young lad from Pudsey.
Among lad from Pudsey, playing a sport, running around after a little leather thing. You know, have an MBE for running around after a little leather thing. Brilliant.
We'll just have a little bit of fun now. We've got a couple of little things we always run through on this podcast, the segments. Our first one is Take 5, where I'm just going to ask you a few questions, 5 questions about you away from cricket. What's your single most favourite thing to grill and barbecue? Because we know you've got a cool business.
Yeah, and I'm almost a bit of a when I answer this because I say everything because you can make everything on a grill. I made Yorkshire pudding. I made toad in the hole the other day. But most probably a reverse seared ribeye steak, tomahawk steak.
Nice, mate. Good classic, that.
I like that.
Which famous person would you invite to a dinner party you're hosting or cooking at? Or would there be 2 or 3 that you would really be interested to?
Do you know, everybody asks me, do you know when you say name 5 people you want to come around for a dinner party, or name 3 or 1? I struggle to name one. I'm just thinking, well, what do I know?
Just your missus and your son, and you're happy with that?
I'm correct. Everybody else can off. Just give me nice weather, nice view. I'm happy.
You know what you like, mate. You know what you like. You were famous for doing your dog walks back in the day, weren't you?
Yeah, and going on pretend dog walks. So when we went to India and everything was locked down, I used to take my dogs for an imaginary walk in my room. Because
as you do.
well, as you said, that the psychology sort of stuff kicks in, and you say, right, how do you relax? And I said, right, I take my dog for a walk, and you can go out the gate, you go across the road, and you can pick out the route that you follow, the stream, the rock, the everything else, and you can go on a walk without being there, and it's so refreshing. It clears your mind, and if you can't get out and walk to do that, I mean, Trez used to take it a step further and have a mental net. So instead of netting the day before a game, he'd have a mental net. So he'd sit there and just think about having a net and where he's hitting it and everything else, because your muscle memory is all that good that you don't really have to have a net to get there. So I could take a dog for a walk, but when Trez had a mental net, it was, oh, look at him forward thinking. Hoggy, what a Looney Tune. Dogs on a walk and they're not there.
Well, moving on. What song has been stuck in your head recently? What song last got stuck in your head?
What song have I been singing? Maneater.
Oh yeah, Nelly Furtado, is it? Nat Maneater.
That yeah, but it came up while I was watching YouTube. It came up as a short. It was out of a film. They were in a restaurant and he had to go sing on a piano, and he sang a version of Maneater, and it just stuck in my head for about 4 days. He's Maneater. That earworm, horrible earworm.
Proper earworm, that is. If you could bowl an over at anyone from history, who would it be?
Oh wow! It'd have to be, wouldn't it, Sir Don?
The Don. See how you go. Get cut, every ball. Get a little dab cut.
But I want to play in his era on uncovered wickets that went like that.
You've also got a bowl in the trousers they wore, the shoes they wore.
Yeah.
You'd suit that, wouldn't you? You'd be retro. And finally, what's the one fact or statistic that you'd like to know about your life? It could be anything, like how many cups of tea you've ever had, how many sausages you've ever cooked, how many minutes you've slept, like one random little fact about it.
Oh wow, that's quite a good question. That
It's a tough one.
How many? Oh, yeah. I won't go for one of them. I'm going to go for how many kilograms of food I've eaten.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Excellent. In your lifetime, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, how many kilograms of food have I actually? And if you put all the cows back together, how many cows is there?
Love that. For all the vegans out there, I'm sorry, but this man is.
And put that next to all the drink, and not just the alcohol. When do you know when you're playing and you've got your isotonic drinks, your meal replacement? But then I'd want to know how much sweat I've actually sweat.
Oh, it's got a knock on. There's going to be a huge long knock on. We'll leave it there, Hoggy.
You can't. You've just opened a can of worms, haven't you? You just opened it, right? How many calories have I burned? How many extra calories have I not burnt of the food that I've eaten? How many calories must I have burnt? So,
Love that. Well, that was great, mate. And we'll finish with our last round, which is our quiz. And it is brought to you by Simplexity, who are an awesome sponsor. They sponsor this podcast very kindly. They work with the PCA. Now they make bespoke, tailor-made winter experiences, or any holiday experience really. But this prize is a particular winter experience, so you could just tailor-make yourself a 3 or 4 day trip anywhere you want. Take away Mrs. Hoggard, or
I tell you what, the Easter Islands. Easter Islands is a long way to go for 2 or 3 days.
I'm sure. Well, you've got to win the quiz first, mate. So basically, we're going to ask you.
I won't be winning that. I'm going to red. Every single question's red.
So you got to do it quick fire. I'm going to give you the answer. Tell you if you got it correct straight away.
I'll give you the answers. We'll get it quick fire.
You've got to be about 62.39 seconds at the minute. Ollie Robinson, the wicket keeper from Durham.
Just about.
Just about that, mate. So if you let me know when you're ready, we will fire away.
Can I just say that if you freeze, can I have extra time?
You can't get on ChatGPT either.
All right, come on then. Hit me.
Excellent. So producer in my ear says he's ready on the timer. Excellent. So ready, steady, go. Question 1. Who did you make your ODI debut against?
Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Which Deadpool actor and Wrexham co-owner was also born in 1976?
Yeah, I know him. I can't answer that, so I'm going to have to pass. I know who he is.
We can come back. Who did you dismiss for the first wicket of the 05 Ashes?
Hayden.
Yeah. You took a Test 12 for against which team?
South Africa.
Yeah. Who captained Australia during the 05 Ashes?
Mickey Ponting.
Yeah. When did Yorkshire last win the county championship? 2010 or 2015?
15.
Yeah. Who replaced Simon Jones for the final Test in 05?
Collingwood.
Yeah. How many Test fifers did you take? 7 or 15?
7.
Yeah. How many runs did England win in the second Test in 2005 by?
2.
Yeah. And who had a lower Test bowling average, you or Steve Harmison?
Ooh, Harmy.
No, it was you.
Whoa.
You averaged 30.5. He averaged 31.8.
Yeah, I haven't got more wickets.
Yeah, just he that felt pretty quick, but obviously he got a couple wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah, never mind. And who is he?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, Ryan Reynolds.
You got 8 correct in 60.78. So if you'd got them all correct, you would have been top of the leaderboard, mate.
I'd have been all right, wouldn't I?
Unfortunately, you didn't. Matthew Hoggard, we're going to have to leave it there because, well, this is going to be amazing content. First, I don't want to take up any more of your free time, but it's been fantastic as a mate and someone that I used to love watching. I used to do impersonations of you back in the day. That beautiful cocked wrist and the whirly action. And it was pretty awesome to, well, obviously see you this summer during a PCA Legends game, but to open the bowling with you was quite funny. You were just running. Well, I say running. You literally came off one step with the keeper up, but was still swinging it around corners.
That's the ideal speed to swing it at 42 mile an hour.
Mate, you could do a job in club cricket doing that, no problems. Mate, take care, and
cheers, boss man.
We'll catch you soon. But thanks very much, and for all our listeners. Please remember to subscribe, like, and send in any questions or comments. Please DM on Instagram or use the hashtag #UnderTheLid or email us at underthelid@thepca.co.uk. We'll be back soon with another amazing guest. Me and Brunty hopefully be back together to take it on with the double act again. You take care and we'll see you around.